Okay, we should be live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first podcast on this channel. I hope this goes well and we do this more in the future. It was Malcolm's suggestion initially to do a podcast, and here we are. So, you all know who I am. I'm Aeon of Horus. I've been making YouTube videos here for a short amount of time, but you probably won't be unfamiliar with these guys. Maybe Didi, because Didi's made a few To Aru videos. So I'll let you introduce yourself. We'll go with Didi first.
Hello everyone, I'm Didi. As you just heard, I have a YouTube channel about Toaru. I'm a really big fan of Railgun Index. I've read a lot of the light novels, up to the latest one, Genesis Testament 1. So I'm pretty updated, but I'm kind of a speed reader, so don't expect groundbreaking lore theories from me. That's all I have to say. I'll let the other ones introduce themselves, I think.
Okay, we'll go with Kyrass next. I still don't know how to say your name, man. I've known you for ages and I still don't know how to pronounce it.
It's Kyrass.
Okay,
Kyrass, depending on how I want to type it out. And then obviously Kamijou is from Touma Kamijou. I just liked how it sounded together. I'm pretty updated. I haven't gotten into the last arc of the newer light novels, or the second Genesis or whatever it is, not the first volume. But because it's just been a while since I've gotten time to get on my phone and read. I've been in the Toaru community for a while. I kind of just didn't fall out, but I kind of just don't post a lot. I mainly just stream, and I asked if he needed a person, so here I am.
Great, thank you. And Malcolm?
Yeah, so I'm Malcolm. I've been a fan of To Aru since either late 2008, early 2009, whenever the fan subs for the sister arc started. So I've been here probably the longest as a fan of the series. I started reading the novels fairly early on, around 2011, I think, is whenever they all finished Old Testament, the fan translations, and I think that's before the New Testament translations even showed up. So I've been reading them since then, caught up all the way to GT, which was really good. But yeah, how's it going?
Great, we've all introduced ourselves. So let's waste no time. Let's get to the topics. So since Railgun T is airing, well, it's not quite airing, it's having some delays, which has been quite irritating. What is everyone's thoughts on Railgun T? Let's start with Didi.
I think Railgun T is the best Raildex anime we've had in a long time because, Index 3, it's a pretty controversial topic, I think. Accelerator was hindered by being the adaptation of a manga that people either don't care about it or don't really like it. There's probably a small minority of people who actually like the Accelerator manga as it is. I may talk about these two anime later, but really, of the To Aru Project for now, Railgun T is the best anime, I think, from the three. And content-wise, the Daihaseisai arc, it was really good, even in the manga, but the adaptation was great. Some people usually complain about Nagai adding some filler, but I think most of the additions he made, anime original additions, were great. For example, in the climax fight in episode 11, I think, the steel beam that Gunha stopped with his forehead, that wasn't in the manga, but it was really badass. And I'm a big fan of Sogita Gunha, so I've been waiting for his moment since like 2 or 3 years, I think, maybe even 4. So yeah, I really like Railgun T.
Yeah, it was really cool to see Sugita animated for the first time, and I agree that the filler they did add was pretty good overall. Like, I had no problems with the filler myself. Anyway, Kyrass, what do you think about Railgun T so far?
Honestly, I'm enjoying Railgun T. It does look a lot better than Index 3 at certain points. I feel like that's just because they actually had time to do things and weren't trying to condense an entire, what was it, like 6 or 7 novels into 24 episodes. They only have to do the entire Daihase arc and half of it, because most of the Railgun anime is just like the first half is manga, and then the second half we get like technically filler, but it's not really bad filler. And I'm honestly enjoying it. I'm watching the dub as well, if you want to hear my thoughts on that.
Yeah, totally. I don't listen to the dub myself, but sure.
I watch both of them, but honestly, I enjoy the dub. Like, people are dub or sub elitists, and like, I enjoy both of them. But I really enjoy the voices they pick out for the To Aru dubs. Like Mikoto Misaka's voice actress. I don't remember her name off the top of my head at the moment, but she does a really
Kabowski, is it?
Yeah, she does. I believe so. Yeah, she does a really fantastic job as Mikoto Misaka. I know a lot of like people enjoy her voice for Misaka, and I know San Uriharu and Kuroko. They also have really like I'm trying to think of the word. Matching. They have like really good matching voices to the Japanese, or just how you think they would sound. I kind of have a little bit of an issue with Misaki, just because they kind of made her sound like I want to say a valley girl a little bit, but otherwise, I think most of the voices match up pretty much fine.
That's interesting. I mean, they've announced that this is going to be like the first Railgun season, which doesn't have like a second arc, which isn't filler. So it's going to be the Dream Ranker arc from the anime, because the second halves of the past 2 seasons were pretty much filler. Although Komachi tried to make them canon by saying afterwards, "Oh, they're now canon now," even though the anime studio is pretty much made up. I think they asked for his input for like the basic story, but then they just went along with what they wanted.
Yeah, they don't make much sense in terms of the timeline or canon, no matter how you look at it, within like the light novel and manga universe.
Yeah. And on the topic of dubs, like, I listened to a bit of an Index 3 dub, and I know I'm singling out like some characters here, but what was Iwa's voice in dub? Have you heard that, Kyrass?
I believe at one point I have, but it's been a while since I've seen that clip.
Oh.
But I remember it sounded kind of off.
You cut out a bit, but it's fine. Yeah. I just thought that was a really weird voice for Iwa's. Like, I thought the Japanese sounded a bit more menacing, but this one, I don't know. if anyone's curious, listen to the dub voice of Iwa's on YouTube and let me know what you think. Anyway, let's go to Malcolm. What do you think of Railgun T?
Railgun T has been an experience for me. I don't think the Daihase Festival arc is as good as the Sisters arc in S. And I don't like the Silent Party arc. Really messed up a lot of the storytelling, in my opinion, of this arc, specifically with Kongo's storyline, because it's like contradiction after contradiction, and there isn't much of a lot of her reasoning doesn't really make sense in it. But overall, I think it's been the animation's been nice. I feel like it probably got negatively affected a bit by a certain virus. But it's been really good. I'm glad they didn't use CGI for that scene.
Oh yeah, of course. Not spoiling it if anyone hasn't watched it yet.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Dream Ranker. Hopefully it'll be good. They're giving it 2 months. I'm disappointed that Index 3 didn't get 2 months. I'm sort of wishing the virus happened during that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Railgun T has been really good. I'm happy with it. It's sort of taking care of that bad taste that Index 3 left in my mouth. My eyes, my soul. But yeah, no, Railgun T is good. I'm pretty happy with the product so far.
Yeah, we'll get around to Index 3. That's another story. But with Railgun S and Railgun T, I think the two arcs, which are the Sisters arc and the Daihaseisai arc, have two different tones, and they have both different atmospheres. I mean, you do get some of like the dark side with the Daihaseisai arc, but I feel like the Sisters arc is taken more seriously in terms of its tone. It's a lot more darker overall. And I do think Nagai, he's the director, right?
Yes,
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. His direction was really good, like in terms of the atmosphere and the tone of the story in the Sisters arc. And yeah, it was kind of spoiled with the Silent Party arc. I did enjoy Aogami's little cameo. That was
funny, yeah.
Yeah. But apart from that, yeah, and you're right about Kongo. I feel like the anime doesn't really know what to do with Kongo half the time. The characters, like you said, is all over the place.
Yeah, well, a bunch of that was her whole story was trying to find a place for herself in the Academy City. There's a lot of story elements that don't make sense, like during that ball game where they're playing with the hats. They're like, "Oh, we don't have any information on this girl," and it's like in the manga it makes sense because she just transferred into Tokiwadai, but in the anime universe it's like she's been there the whole time, and there's like no way they shouldn't have information on her. Then there's also like her two friends. What are their names? Owatsuki and One Eye. They're like, "Oh, we've never been in a fight before. What is it like to fight?" And it's like, y'all were just like fighting in the Silent Party arc.
That's true.
But the dub actually added her mentioning the Silent Party arc, which was nice. I mean, I'm a bit mixed on like adding lines within a dub rather than just trying to maintain the original message. But it was a nice retcon, I guess, for the dub to mention it. But it's flawed, and there's a lot of like background elements. Like in the manga, there were some girls that were sort of bullying Kongo after she transferred in, and those girls are with her in the beginning of the Railgun T anime, like in episode 2 or 3, when she's meeting up with Wanai and the other one. But you have no idea why it's sort of funny for them to be there.
Owatsuki.
Yeah, they're like really uncomfortable, and in the manga, it's because they were just making fun of this girl, and now they're forced to work with her. But in the anime, it's just sort of like, oh, Kongo's just awkward. But go ahead.
I didn't know that about the dub, that they actually included that line. So I agree, that's quite cool that they added that. But also, yeah, it's like, it's the problem of them changing the manga in terms of where Kongo is introduced. Because Kongo, if you didn't know, guys, Kongo is introduced in the manga after the Sisters arc. But in the anime, she's introduced basically in the second filler arc of season 1, if I'm correct. So they did have to cut a few lines here and there.
She was introduced, I think, like 2 or 3 episodes in, not in the second filler arc. But
okay, yeah, because the first
during the teleporter girls, or not the invisible girls storyline in the aim burst, whatever that arc was called.
Right, yeah.
Poltergeist.
Yeah,
whichever one it's called.
Can I chime in real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Well, they probably put her in sooner in the anime because I have a feeling in the manga she probably wasn't, I want to say, like an idea at the time. So like like what a lot of shows do is like when you have the foresight of a character is already introduced and you want to put them in the show that you know they're going to show up anyway, they usually insert them in like that. That's probably why there's that inconsistency. It's because they wanted to show off Kongo in the original Railgun season because they didn't know they were going to have a second season.
That's the interesting thing. And Railgun is where Kongo got her finalized design. They just made it up for the anime. And then they liked it so much that they continued using it even in the manga and light novels.
I did not know that. That's actually kind of interesting that the anime got to influence the manga a little bit.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I bet Diddy was annoyed that Sogita didn't get his little cameo in Railgun Season 1 like it does in the manga. What do you have to say about that, Diddy?
Well, I think it could have been like really cool foreshadowing like for Gunha, but at the same time, knowing about him and then seeing him in action in Railgun T, it was great as well, but I don't know. I know of some people who, after like the hiatus because of the coronavirus, well, they went back and read the whole Railgun manga, even though they watched the anime already, and most of them have a really good like. They really like the manga, perhaps not over the anime, but they notice all the differences and really appreciate the manga as its own thing. So I feel like some people will appreciate this little Gunha cameo at the beginning.
What do you think about the Sisters arc compared to the Daihaseisai arc? I know Malcolm has mentioned his opinion. What does the rest of you think about that, Kyrass and Diddy?
In comparison to the Sisters arc, because honestly, I really love the Sisters arc from Railgun compared to the original. Like I watched both of them a couple of times, and I always love how more in depth you get with the Railgun S version. Because it has better animation because it's a few years newer, but also just like it has like this, I want to say, darker atmosphere than it does in the original, purely because it's from Misaka's point of view rather than Touma's, because Touma is still the outsider in this situation, but everything from Misaka's perspective is a lot more personal. Her sisters are getting massacred in droves, and she is powerless to stop them, and you get to see that take a toll on her throughout the show. And I always liked how there was always like a soundtrack difference, like the OST for Railgun always had like I don't want to say like darker or thriller tone, but it kind of did. And then during the fight with Accelerator, you could hear there was a lot more like, I want to say, orchestra to it. Like it would go down and then it would like come up, but then the fight has a lot of ups and downs, and so with the music with it. So
yeah, there was that one part, I think it was during a Touma Misaka scene. There's like a guitar that starts playing. That the song it was playing was really good. I remember just thinking about that song. It like stood out amongst the To Aru soundtrack.
Yeah, and then there was one other thing that I like that I think is more symbolic, but I'm pretty sure that's just an animation change, was that the sisters have like actual eyes in the Railgun version versus the Index version. I always found that to be symbolic, but I think that's more of an animation, just budget change. But I thought it was just because, to Touma, they're still people, but they're not Misaka, but to Misaka, they're just as real as anyone else. They're her sisters.
Yeah, the ones in the light novels are closer to the index version of their eyes than the Railgun ones, but I don't. It's probably symbolic or something.
Diddy, what do you think about Sister's arc in comparison to the Daihaseisai arc?
I'm kind of like, I don't know which one I prefer because they're so different. Like
Yeah.
Sister's arc. I mean, the cast is bigger, of course, in the Railgun version compared to the Index one, but it's a pretty small cast actually. Like the main players of the arc are Misaka Mikoto, Kamijou Touma, Accelerator, and the sisters. But for example, in Daihaseisai, we get Touma, Gunha, Misaki, Gensei, Kongo, Baba, a lot of characters actually, and it's way more like action kind of like how to explain the sisters arc. It has like this kind of early index atmosphere with most of it happening during the night and kind of in empty urban spaces, but the Daihaseisai is during a big festival during the day. It's really not the same atmosphere, and the sisters arc, it has this kind of psychological thriller, not really, but kind of
Horror. Maybe.
it's really gloomy kind of. But
Ominous,
the Daihaseisai is a big action explosive movie with a lot of like characters with each of them has a really distinct personality and is really not the same atmosphere at all. So I like both a lot, but personally, because I'm a big Gunha fan, I'd say I prefer the Daihaseisai. But that's my personal bias, I think.
That's understandable. I mean, like the To Aru franchise as a whole is quite unique in the fact that it has like such distinct arcs. Like some arcs will be like really serious and really dark, and other ones will be really light-hearted and focus on slice of life moments, and some will have loads of action. So yeah, we are quite lucky that this series has like so many aspects to it. And I also think it's interesting that, yeah, like you said, I get what you mean. It's like the Railgun S version of the Sisters arc has a more ominous atmosphere to it than the Index 1 version in terms of both music, like everyone has said, of like the different style of music to the electronic based tracks you usually find in Index. It's more orchestra based and classical, and I think it's quite funny that in the light novel of Index that you get to see Touma fight Accelerator, and Touma gets his he's bleeding, like he's really injured, but in the anime version of it, like he's got a few scratches and that's it. But in Railgun S, he's like bleeding and everything. So I think Railgun S did actually a better adaptation of the Index fight than Index itself.
Yeah, Railgun for some reason is more willing to go more gore than Index is, and I've never really understood why the cute girl show gets the gory bits.
So true.
But yeah, because if you read the novels, they're surprisingly, they can be like really gory and like violent. Like in the novel, it's removed from both the Railgun and the Index anime retellings of it. But like, there's a scene where Accelerator's like chewing on a piece of the sister.
Oh yeah,
like her ear or finger or something, and he's just like chewing on it. And it's like that was removed, which I guess it didn't really add much, but it did make him seem more foreboding.
Now I remember, because in the light novel, it gets a lot more detailed what happens to the sister in the alleyway. I don't think I could say exactly what happened because he gets really, really detailed in his explanation of what reversing a person's blood flow does.
Yeah, like the novels can be a lot more adult with how they present that kind of stuff, but the anime just doesn't like to go into that. I guess probably because of what time it airs. But I mean, Railgun gets to become a lot gorier. Like Touma, how messed up he is after the Accelerator fight in the Railgun anime versus the Index anime. It's like two completely different things.
He goes from I ain't got time to bleed to I'm bleeding out.
Yeah. Like he looks like he's gonna die. And that's
I
a
like
lot
that
more
Predator
dramatic.
reference. Yeah, and I think the Misaka fans would love to chew on a bit of Misaka, but that's another story entirely. Okay, I think we've talked enough about Railgun. I mean, we'll probably discuss it a bit again with this second topic, since has the To Aru Project. So that was the project that got announced like a couple years ago, I think, or more. I've lost track of time. So I was like Index 3, the Accelerator anime, and Railgun T, when all three of them were announced pretty much at the same time. Has this been a success or failure? Now, I haven't looked at the sales for each of them. I mean, I have, but I can't remember the stats myself because I'm not a nerd. But, well, I am a bit, but that's another story. Okay, so who wants to start? Didi?
All right. The To Aru Project, is it a success? Is it a failure? That's a good question with a lot of nuance, because when Index 3 finished, we're all like, To Aru Project was a mistake, I think. But then Accelerator aired, and for the first couple of episodes we were like, whoa, this is pretty cool. And then the rest aired, and like we were like, okay, the To Aru Project is cursed. And then Railgun T aired, and it's actually, I mean, of course there's a virus, so we can say it had its own kind of misfortune, but the final product is really great in my opinion. So Railgun T really, I mean, it's kind of a meme, but I think we can say that Nagai saved the To Aru Project.
Definitely.
Yeah, but in my opinion, it's not only the final product that matters, whether or not it's good. I mean, of course, it's important, but even if Index 3 didn't live up to the expectations, it really, like, even if it didn't boost the light novel sales by a large margin or anything, it brought back interest into the To Aru series. I'm sure a lot of people actually started watching or reading the light novels for To Aru thanks to the To Aru Project, actually. I even know of some people who started with Accelerator, so yeah, I really think like having 3 different anime over like 2 years now, I really think it helped like spark new interest into the series and bring some people to the fan base. So I think on that point, it's definitely a success.
Okay, that's interesting. I'll give you my take, because when Index 3 got announced, I know like a lot of people were hyped for it, but I was one of the few who was a bit skeptical about it, because I wasn't, I liked the first 2 seasons a bit. I mean, I've given them a 5 out of 10, both on my anime list. They're okay. Like, I have my issues with them, but they've still got, the same like ideas, but not as much detail. Even though I do shit on them quite a lot, and I will do a review of the next anime at some point. And as for the Accelerator anime, like, I don't know about everyone here, but if you read the Accelerator manga, it's an experience, and sometimes a negative one.
An experience.
Yeah, I don't know what the current arc is doing. Like I don't know what is going on. Like, what the hell is this? All right, let's not talk about the Accelerator manga. I'll do a review of that as well, and I'm gonna make that video super funny. Like, I can't wait to do that. But the Accelerator, like, I'm a fan of Necromancer arc. Necromancer arc is good. I enjoyed it in the manga, believe it or not. I enjoyed it, and I thought the anime did justice by adding the flashbacks. Like, adding more detail to the backstory. that was good. I think the anime is better than the actual manga, which is kind of rare these days.
Yeah.
And Railgun T has been good so far. Yes, the virus has impacted sales somewhat, but under delays. But yeah, I agree with your point that it's probably going to get more people into the franchise. Although with how confusing Index 3 was, I don't think that was much of a success. But Accelerator anime definitely. I think Accelerator has had more toys being released now, which I don't know probably says something.
Still haven't gotten an Accelerator Figma though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We still need. I can't believe Touma got a Figma. Misaka Mikoto got a Figma. The sisters got a Figma.
Kuroko's got one too.
Yeah, Kuroko. But why not Accelerator? Come on.
Well, for the sisters, you just reuse the Misaka one with new faces.
I know it doesn't require too much effort. I remember watching this YouTuber reviews anime toys, and he was kind of annoyed that the goggles don't even light up, so he had to build an LED into the plastic to make them. Yeah, he actually did that as a YouTube video on it. I think it's called Akbar Reviews. Actar Reviews, actually. Yeah, check him out. He collects a lot of anime figures. Anyway, that's my take on it. So yeah, I'm overall pleased. It's better than nothing since we had the drought of not having any anime for years. So it's nice, but my feelings are kind of conflicted about how Index 3 was. But for the anime, whatever, man. As long as the novels are still good, I don't really care that much. Right, Kyrass, what do you think, Kyrass?
For the To Aru Project, so because we got Index 3, we got Accelerator, and now we have Railgun T. I feel like if we want to take it, we got Index 3 as the negative, and then we got Accelerator as the neutral, and now we have Railgun T as the positive. I say Index 3, I want to say did its job. It didn't do it well, but it did its job of giving us, a third season of To Aru. We all remember. I hope we all remember the years of just waiting and the memes of just don't worry, guys, we'll get Index 3 at some point. And we did get it. I'm really grateful that we did get Index 3, so we no longer have to imagine it. But it could have been better, but it's still the penultimate of just what we waited all of our years for, and the memes paid off. We got that. As for Accelerator wasn't bad. I want to say the anime wasn't bad. It felt like kind of just the filler in between Index 3 and Railgun T. They were just okay, guys, we're gonna fill in this gap year. We're gonna give Accelerator some time to shine. We'll wait for the Railgun to start, and it wasn't bad. The arc they decided to animate wasn't bad either. Or at least to me it wasn't. But it could have been better probably. Was it only 12 episodes or was it full 24?
Accelerator?
Yeah.
It was 12.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I can remember for a second. Yeah, it wasn't bad. And then as for Railgun T, it hasn't finished airing yet, but what we've gotten so far has been pretty good. So all in all, I'd say the To Aru Project as a whole has done, I'd say, a solid 4 to 5 stars in doing its job of promoting To Aru and getting the franchise out there.
That's good. Yeah, I remember when, like you said, we just had the barrage of Index 3 memes on Facebook about how it's going to be 9,000 years or something. And I remember people being skeptical even about the announcement, and they were saying, "Oh, Index 3 is never going to be announced." I think it was this Railgun page on Facebook, which isn't that popular, and I just thought they were kind of dumb because, you can see all the build up to it, with Miki, the producer, him saying some statements and stuff. I was pretty optimistic about the announcement itself. It's just about the quality. I wasn't very. People thought it was going to be oh, this thing's going to be amazing because they're adapting all these arcs, and I'm well, they could have done a better job with the past 2 seasons, so I'm not being too optimistic. I'm not getting carried away, but it was still really hype. When the first episode came out, even though the first episode was mostly filler, it was just just so cool to have index-free or more index content, at least. Anyway, Malcolm, I'm sure you've got a good opinion on this.
So I've got a lot of opinions on all of it.
I bet you do.
I mean, like I mentioned at the beginning, I've been a fan of the series since it first started airing, the anime. So I've been around for a lot longer than everybody, or at least most people, I assume. So I waited the full amount of time for Index 3. So I had already seen the series well before Funimation did the official release, which took them years to get to. So my disappointment was exponential, because like there was so much buildup, and all the elements in Index 3 are where all the past novels sort of like all these small things start to come together and make sense. But because of how rushed and poorly paced it was just a complete mess. And like some of the best Old Testament arcs are in that section of the novels. And Battle Royale, which was like one of the coolest arcs in the novels, made no sense whatsoever in the anime.
Yeah.
It was just all this. So I waited like 7 years for whatever ended up, for whatever that was. So, and they just, I don't know, they removed so much like important information and world building and like context and stuff that it sort of messes with like the future. Like it'll have effects on New Testament if they decide to animate that. So I feel like there's going to be some long-term effects similar to like how Kongo affected the Railgun T anime. And I feel like the last them revealing that Touma was alive in the anime was just the worst thing.
Yeah.
Because I remember, because I was on a bunch of anime forums and manga forums and stuff, and we would talk about that. And that was like back when OT just finished and the fan translation just finished for that. And so it was like debate: is Touma alive? Is Touma dead? So that was like an exciting thing that if you were there to experience it, it was a cool experience. But they just stole that away from the anime fans, which I find disappointing. Like if I were an anime only fan, I don't know, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah, I think it pissed off both camps. Those who read the novels, like they were disappointed by like, you know, the things they just decided to neglect and how rushed it was. And the anime only fans were also annoyed at how rushed it was and how confusing the presentation was. It wasn't very coherent.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. But that's my opinion on Index 3. There's a whole lot of things. I think they did like a lot of unnecessary fan service, like when Misaka finds out Touma lost his memory.
Oh, yeah, she's in the shower.
Like, yeah, she's in the shower in the anime for no reason other than to middle schooler fan service.
Misaka fans ruin the To Aru franchise.
I wouldn't go that far, but let's try and not cause a civil war in the chat or anything.
Come at me, guys. If you're watching and you're a Misaka fan, I'm ready.
But yeah, so that's my general opinion on Index 3. For Accelerator, Accelerator, I would actually say, maybe controversially so, is the best adaptation of any of the anime. And I say that because it's the only one that I watch and I say, oh, hey, this is better than the source material.
True.
I don't think it's the best To Aru anime, but I think it's the best adaptation. They fixed a lot of the things. There was a lot of like out of character moments in the Accelerator manga. And he's just like unusually, like abnormally cruel in how he's presented a lot in that. Like a small change they made that I think like says a lot of difference between how the manga compares the character or writes the character and how the anime does it is after he destroys that first robot, whatever they're called, in the first episode and the first chapter of the manga, and the girl falls out. What's her name? The corpse?
Oh, I know her name is like a Kyoto or something.
Yeah, whatever her
when
name is.
she's a
I
zombie.
can't remember her actual human name, but she's called like Hoto, isn't she? Or
Yeah, but anyways, whenever she falls out of the robot, the way Accelerator interacts with the corpse is different between the two. In the manga, he'll like despite having thought of the sisters as she was falling out, in the manga he's just like unusually like he's like stepping on the corpse like for some reason, like just desecrating. I think
They
it's the
wanted
word.
to make him edgy.
All right.
Yeah, desecrating the corpse. But in the manga, he's just sort of like he goes through the shock and then he sort of like steps away from the body, and I think that just says a lot of the character and how it's written. And his interactions, I think, are better in the anime with Last Order. And I think it also goes to show Arata, the manga for Accelerator, like his pacing is so bad. Like what the first volume of or the first arc of Accelerator is what, like 5 or 6 volumes?
Yeah.
But like in the Railgun sister arc, which was just as content packed, if not more, was like 2.5 volumes, 3 volumes. For what ended up being a longer anime arc. And I think it's just Arata has no idea what pacing is. He likes to do the 1-page splash pages. And it just the anime was able to cut all of that down to 12 chapters or 12 episodes and include 2 filler episodes, and I would say the story made more sense and it was more entertaining in the anime than it was in the manga, and wrote the characters better. So I think Accelerator is just the best adaptation.
yeah.
But, yeah, so To Aru Project. Accelerator was good. Index 3 was something I never want to like talk about again. And Railgun T so far, I'm really happy with. Really propped it up.
Yeah, me too. Okay,
So-
I'm going to go for about 2 minutes or so. Be back though. So I'll let you discuss whatever you have to talk about, or the Accelerator, anime, manga, whatever. So be right back.
Accelerator is the middle child, is what we're getting at.
Basically.
And then Index 3 is that cousin that shows up at the family reunions that no one wants to talk about.
Yeah.
But they all have to acknowledge.
Have you read the Dark Matter manga?
No, I have not gotten around to reading Dark Matter manga yet.
I definitely recommend it. It takes place at the same time as the Necromancer arc.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets through as much content as the manga version of the Necromancer arc did in 1 volume, because it's like a one-shot, 1 volume sort of thing.
Yeah.
Then Index 3 gets, or not Index, what was I talking about?
Accelerator.
Accelerator gets through its whole absurdity. But the Dark Matter manga is really good. I really recommend it. The art's awesome.
Same.
I always forget, like, Toaru has so many spin-offs for so many characters. Like, I remember reading about a Dark Matter manga, but I didn't realize that was a thing. And then we have, what's the new one?
The Astro Buddy?
Yeah, Astro Buddy for Misaki's right hand or left hand girl, I want to say.
Yeah.
Hokaze
Junko.
Yeah, like she has a side story. Like it's Toaru. I feel like Toaru is basically a franchise where it's just like you get a side story, you get a side story, everybody gets a side story.
I think what's great about Toaru is that the world building, the fact that there's academicity which is so developed, and also the whole world of magic that lies beneath the boundaries of academicity. It makes for an endless possibilities of stories that could happen, because like Academy City by itself is such a gold mine of ideas. I mean, be it like the Espers, their powers, or the technology, you can write a ton of stories, and like with such a varied cast of characters, you
Yeah,
can
there's
make
so much potential
a lot
for a
of
Magic
stories
Side
and
one, though.
of course.
I'm back, by the way.
Welcome back.
Yeah,
I
Welcome
wasn't.
home.
You.
I wasn't dissing like
Sorry
the whole
about
side story thing. I was just saying like more comedically that was the Toaru's the franchise of side stories. But I what he was saying, yeah. Toaru, honestly, what captures me about Toaru and why I honestly love the franchise is because Toaru can be either a sci-fi series, with all the science fiction and everything that takes place in Academy City, or you can have like a fantasy genre going on at the same time in the magic side. Like you can have either of those two genres running side by side, and he always manages to like somehow blend the two, so it still makes sense, and it always just fascinates me of the deep lore you can get into, that he gets into with his magic and science sides.
I'd love to see more. Matt, I know why science gets so much more representation in terms of spin-offs and everything. It's not hard to see that fans tend to like the science side more, and it's a lot easier to sort of visually represent a lot of what happens.
It's because of the anime.
Right. But I would love to get like a Ulrus spinoff, or just a Fiamma spinoff. Any spinoff with a good magic side character that I feel like needs more attention.
Kanzaki spinoff.
A Kanzaki spinoff that just I would like fall in love with an Amaxa spinoff.
No, I would love, now that I just thought of this, I would love to see a Necessarius spinoff of just them like going off and taking down magic bad guys.
That
just
would be
Smile
awesome.
and Kanzaki and occasionally Tsuchimikado.
It'd just be random teams every arc.
Yeah, I feel like that would be so badass just to see the just Necessarius in action without Touma, and another church, just like because there's a lot of, I want to say, quote unquote heretics in the To Aru franchise that they like especially in the early light novels, he makes like a lot of mention of just like, this is what Style does, and this is what Kanzaki does, and this is this is what Necessarius Jobs is.
Yeah, there's a lot of setup for the magic side that never gets touched on in like the greater lore in terms of
vampires.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh. Vampires. I think Kamachi was just like looking for a plot in volume 2, and he's like, oh, vampires, and then he realized, oh crap, vampires.
I'm sorry. The volume 2 vampire thing is one of my like one of my things with like, just sets me off a little bit, because like I was reading it, and like even in the anime I was just like, so are these vampires going to be important at some point? Because like 20 volumes down the line, I'm like, no one has ever said the word vampire ever again, and I'm like, weren't
well, I'm not surprised,
guys, Alice Springle's a vampire.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Like,
but I feel like it's partly because Kamachi was like forced to speed through volume 2, because I don't think they even told him when volume 2 was happening until like right before it came out, and he only had like 12 days to write it, which nowadays I feel like Kamachi could do that pretty easily, but back then it was still, he's only written 2 books.
I mean, he only wrote volume 1 as a one-off. Like, he ended it.
Yeah.
I remember I can actually pull the book off my shelf if I need to, but I'm pretty sure he was just like, yeah, I wrote the ending like that because I didn't know if this was going to be a series or not. And apparently everyone loved it. So he's like, well, I guess I got to make this a series. And then we got volume 2.
Really well in Japan.
He was just like, wow, guys. All right, here we go. Vampires, alchemists.
I've got a theory that vampires don't actually exist, and it's just a myth. I think I made a blog on it like a few years ago on Amino, but maybe I should make it into a video.
I mean, there's got to be something with Himagami, because she's a gemstone.
It could be Accel.
be exuding some sort of aim.
Could be set up by Roman Catholic Church to get Aureolus to find her.
That was my thing. Anyway. was like the whole point of Deep Blood was like, well, if you can't, it's like you can't prove vampires exist, but here we have this thing that kills vampires, and it's like, well, how do you know it kills vampires? Because it did it. And I was just like, okay, but where are they at? Because like supposedly these vampires were like infinite source of mana because they have infinite lifespan, and it's just like,
and they're strong as saints. Apparently.
Yeah, like they can do like they just have infinite life force, which means infinite mana, and it's just like,
and it's crazy because it's not like a saint where you have only 20 in the world and it's like a circumstantial birth. These vampires can just bite another person, turn them into a vampire, and then you have a shit ton of vampires. And
they multiply fast.
What the hell?
Yeah, we saw that with Himagami's home village or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
just
they're all dead.
Everybody died.
Like, did Himagami kill all the vampires in Japan or something? Because they just smelt blood from like every corner of the island or something. I don't know.
Maybe that's the plot twist. There were vampires, but they're all already dead.
Oh, just like the Crowley Hazards, conveniently.
No, he has them locked up in the basement. This Crowley has them locked up in Academy City somewhere.
It'd be fun if he created more tentacle monsters.
He has a in case of emergency break glass button and just says release the vampires.
They're all still in the windowless building in this sex dungeon, along with Caroline Crutune and who else?
Honestly, Aleister Crowley's basement. It's Pandora's box of the To Aru franchise. He can keep whatever he wants in there.
Okay, shall we move on to Genesis Testament? Okay, so let's talk about what we think about Genesis Testament 1, I guess, and what our expectations are for Genesis Testament 2. I will quickly read the synopsis of Genesis Testament 2. Here it is. So here it is. Genesis Testament 2. Goodbye, 24th. The 25th is my turn at full power. There's a little star. Noticing Kamijou was in the hospital. What awaited him there? Was it the fault of the incident between Kamijou and Anna? No. It was a nursing care race between Index, the sisters Mikoto and Shogaho. And this has gotten a lot of attention on Twitter because they're kind of annoyed that it seems like a fan servicey type volume, although it's kind of referencing Christmas Day there. So, and that's an important day for the magic side because obviously it's the birth of Christ. Anyway, what do you think? I'll start with Didi.
So Genesis Testament 1, I liked it. What I liked about Genesis Testament 1 was mostly the impact on the world, because like I see a lot of complaints about New Testament that like world-ending events happened one after another, and Kamachi just kept the status quo. I won't like list them all because I mean we're talking about GT, but I wouldn't want to spoil NT, even though I mean we're even further right now. But well, in any case, I think like if I talk about like what happened in GT1 a bit.
Sure.
All right. Well, I think
so if you haven't read GT1, you might want to mute this video.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'd better go.
Well, I try to stay a bit cryptic about what I'm saying, so that only the people in the know can understand.
Yeah.
I think the app is like the best way to change the status quo without. I mean, you can't just undo the app like Kamachi undid all the game-changing stuff before, I think. And like, I mean, there was some interesting stuff about the characters kind of in GT1, but what I expect from GT2 after reading GT1 is the effects of the app and how it will change the Toaru world and Academicity. That's really what I'm expecting, and also, well, kind of a follow-up to the cliffhanger at the end. I won't tell what it is, but I mean, yeah, that's the two things I'm expecting. The effects of the app on Academicity and the follow-up to the cliffhanger.
Okay. We just got a question in the chat. What was the black pill Touma swallowed? I think it might be something to do with like the Saint Germain virus, because that was a pill, maybe. Yeah, but we'll find out soon, hopefully. Kryss, what do you think about? Well, you haven't read Genesis Testament, so
No.
So what do you think about what's going on in the light novels? We should ask you, I guess. From what you last read. So, did you read New Testament, all of it?
Yeah. No, I have not gotten to the last arc. The last arc I can remember.
You are missing out. You are missing out.
I know.
From
what I have seen the still frames and the images. I tried reading synopsis on the wiki, but it wasn't very helpful. From what I read, we went to space, and there was a demon, but that's all I got out of it. But from what I gathered, it does look really, really good. Like, I am excited to read it. I just haven't gotten. I literally have a bookshelf full of physical books that I still need to read, and I have an entire library on my phone of stuff. But so To Aru is top on my list. I just have to get to it, and I can't read it at work because we're not allowed to be on our phones at work.
Understandable. Did you read New Testament 18 with Aleister on the cover?
No, I literally started it. I remember I started it, and then I just didn't finish it because life and college. Okay,
New Testament 18 is probably top 5 volumes in the series, just saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I remember the Kamiseto arc ending, and then I was like, oh, okay. And then I read that one. I was like, oh, we're taking into the deep end right now. Like, we're doing full lore plunge.
Yeah,
Aleister
arc. Sorry.
Oh, I was like, we're going into Aleister lore now. The thing everyone wants. We want to know more.
Yeah, true. I mean, Aleister was in the series since the second volume, and he's had this plan, and we've had to wait so long to learn his plan, and the payoff was very good, I say. The foreshadowing was crazy by Kamachi. Like, how he planned this over so many years is like, he just added like so much to the foreshadowing.
Yeah, you see some of that foreshadowing in the what's her name? I'm really bad with names. The rescue arc, Ursula Aquinas rescue arc.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they talk a bit about Aleister Crowley's like family history, and that's it's just a throwaway line, but you find out that actually plays a larger role down by volume 18 or 15 or whenever of New Testament.
Yeah, I feel like he has a lot of throwaway lines that come back to haunt us later.
Yeah, the end of Index 1, they mention the magic gods, or not the end, but somewhere in the middle.
The only exception is vampires.
Yeah.
Vampires. Magic gods. I just remembered a meme I made a long time ago. I think Aleister remembers this. It was the Dinkelberg meme, but it was Aleister hair on Doofenshmirtz, and it was just upside down, and I just read it in the voice of just magic gods.
That's amazing. I remember that. It was good.
I feel like for one volume, I feel like Aleister was just blaming everything on the magic gods.
I mean, he has reason to. If you read it 18, like I won't say anything, but they did some pretty bad stuff. I mean, it's indirect, but
that's how he got rid of the vampires, guys. The magic gods wiped them out, and they're phase out. They don't exist. He retconned them out of existence.
Yeah, I mean, Aleister's like fighting against like a predetermined world in essence, and that's partly due to the magic gods. So he's basically fighting against fate itself, and especially when he's cursed to a life of failure, and he's struggling to That's why he's so obsessed about plans. Like when he's talking to Motoharu in the Windless building, like in Old Testament 6, he mentions like he has thousands of plans or something. He says some stupid number, and it's like, why the fuck does this guy got so many plans? And it's like he's got this obsession, like he just doesn't want to fail anymore. Like he has to plan that much just to succeed.
I mean,
kind of sad in a way.
Yeah, I mean, World War III was entirely his imagination. Or at least some of it was, like his plan for Touma, Accelerator, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Hamazura.
Yeah, Hamazura. I was like, it's Ha something. Yeah, no, Hamazura. Like he managed to get all three of them in Russia to solve World War III. And then, he just shows up at the end. He's like, hey, you know that Fiamma, you know that right arm you really like? It's mine now.
Yeah, it was a nice reveal because it's like they have you thinking that Fiamma was the puppeteer the whole time, but at the end you realize, oh, he was just a puppet to the real puppeteer. It's Aleister. So
yeah, and it also, like Fiamma says something like, you had the same like expression I once had, or something like that. It's like the expression of the same characteristic they once had of being able to plan everything and having this future. I guess that was interesting to see that comparison. Anyway, Malcolm, what do you think about Genesis Testament? What do you think will happen next volume or anything?
I think it was a really good start. I think I like it as a better starting point than where NT started. I like its Volume 1 more than NT Volume 1. But there's a lot of really interesting stuff. You have the girl who looks like... her character design sort of looks like Misaki with a bad hair day. But I think her power is really interesting, and I think it's really interesting we're getting more characters that are like pseudo level 5s introduced. I was sort of disappointed how they did Misaki dirty at the beginning.
Oh yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah,
because she's best girl, and I won't accept anyone else's argument that she's not. But
remember what Kamachi said about her in like the New Testament 22R afterwards?
He's just like making her suffer.
Like, I don't want to kill her. I almost did.
Find out where Kamachi lives. But no, GT was a really good starting point. I think I liked... Well, I don't remember her name. I'll just call her...
You mean Maidono?
Not Misaki. Was it the girl's name?
Well, we don't know her real name, but she calls herself Maidono Hashimi.
Maidono?
Yeah, Maidono.
I liked her more than the actual villain of the volume. Sort of because he came a bit out of nowhere. But I don't know, it set up everything, and I think it did a good job of being an easy starting point for new readers if they want to jump in from GT1. It also, I like the sort of shifting relationship between Touma and some of the girls. It feels like him and Misaka have a different relationship in GT than they did before. Not like romantically, but more like Touma sees her more as a friend than he did in previous volumes, which is good to see. I like seeing that sort of relationship development sort of naturally occur.
Yeah, I like the different concepts they're adding to the story. I know they're back in Academy City, but it's like they're adding more elements to the world, and I like that. Like the world seems to be progressing in a new direction, which I didn't really anticipate, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. I won't say what the world is transferring to, but yeah, I mean, obviously, when you start a new series, you're basically... I mean, like in the finale, you want to have an epic, like final showdown arc, and we kind of got that, something equivalent to World War III in a way. But then we had that 22R, which was something a bit different. but it still had that conclusion in a way. But then you've got to restart the story from like, you can't like have all guns blazing at the start. You've got to build up the world slowly from somewhere. And that's why I feel like people aren't really giving Anna a chance at the moment. It's kind of like how they were doing with Coronzon. They were like, oh, Coronzon, such a stupid villain because we don't know anything about her. But then like, we got New Testament 22, which fleshed out her motives a bit more rather than I'm evil and I'm doing evil things.
Are people not liking Anna as a villain?
I've seen people complain about her on Twitter, saying like they're not really giving her a chance. I feel they just think she's like a knockoff Aleister. Well, I'll have to wait and see. Like, give her a chance. Like, come on.
Yeah, I feel like she's gonna be closer to a Fiyama type of villain than an Aleister type of villain, to be honest. I get the feeling we may end up learning that Iwis is sort of pulling the strings in this situation.
Iwas's role will be interesting because we need to see who, like, I mean, Iwas is being whipped right now in a way. Like, we need to see where his loyalty truly lies, and it could be interesting. Yeah. Okay, we won't say anything more about Genesis Testament. I think we've spoiled.
I just have a small question to all of you. Well, all of you who have read the volume. Is it just me, or are like nearly all the characters like way more smug in the volume? Like Imoto, she's really smug. Even when you watch, like look at the illustrations, the one with like the Santa costume in the bar. When you look at Mikoto's face and Touma's face, they're also smug. I mean, it's not that weird, but I feel like their personalities kind of like all got so much more smug.
It's probably just Kamachi's new
weird.
fetish. He's getting over his blonde-haired lolly fetish and moving more into the smug face fetish.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. Genesis hasn't had a lolly running around naked, but that's another story.
Well, technically.
Yeah, technically. We won't spoil anything. Okay, I think we shall move on to questions.
Wait, are we not doing our predictions for GT2?
Oh yeah, I guess you could. I guess for Didi and Malcolm, yeah, just real quick, yeah. Quick predictions.
All right. So I thought like GT1 was kind of a mirror of OT1 on different points. So before the synopsis, I thought like it would be kind of a mirror for OT2 with like vampires and stuff. But now that I have the synopsis, I really don't know what to think. I think it's gonna be like New Testament 22 air. Like with the synopsis, that's like basically nothing happens, and then they drop a second synopsis, or rather, second part to the synopsis, and you notice that like it's actually a big mess and world ending. Well, not really. It wasn't world ending, but like really game-changing stuff happens, and it's really interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. But I don't really have. I mean, Kamachi has succeeded in being unpredictable for me at this point. It's really hard to predict what it's gonna pull out.
And Malcolm, what are your quick predictions?
So I think it's going to be mostly a Misaki central role, just because in the synopsis you have the star, and that usually represents a Misaki line. So I feel like she's going to play sort of the main heroine overall. I get the feeling we're going to get sort of an Academy City invasion arc sort of deal, where the first half is slice of life, and we're sort of going to see how the characters are interacting at this point and how their relationships have changed. So, and then we'll jump into the action. It may become a 2-book ordeal. We'll have to wait and see for that. Though I don't think Kamachi really has done any. No, he did with the Aleister Crowley stuff at the end of NT. But I'm expecting mostly Misaki focus. It's just going to be a lot of like harem slice of life, which I guess in hindsight, Kamachi never really plays into the harem aspect that heavily. But I feel like this will be the first time we sort of see that kind of thing in the books. But it'll probably set up for early readers, like the relationships between all these different characters interacting. And we'll probably find out that what happened at the end of GT1.
Yeah.
It'll either be something that happens later down the line of the books, like it'll be a sudden change that's built up to, or it's just gonna fix a certain problem Touma has. And if Misaki's the main heroine, I think you can predict what I think that problem is that it'll fix.
That
would be great.
Yeah,
that would be nice.
That's what I'm hoping for, because like I said earlier, Misaki's best girl. So I'm praying to Kamachi every night that's what's gonna happen.
I mean, we got a slight taste of it in 22R, and I think we're first.
Yeah.
I just remembered this line from Railgun T. I don't know if it's in the sub or not, but in the dub, she's like, "You Shogo eyed manga protagonist." She's like, "My eyes were always like this."
Yeah, maybe we'll learn what that is. I am sort of disappointed with how early they introduced Misaki in Railgun S. I feel like it was awkward when they reintroduced her in Railgun T, because it was sort of just the same scene done again, but without the foreshadowing the first one have. Like, if you go back and rewatch the Railgun S version, you realize it was meant to go in T, because there's some light foreshadowing towards the events that happen in Railgun T in that scene that aren't present in the redone scene of it.
Yeah. Like, they probably just... And I don't remember if she played a major part in Railgun S.
She played a minor role in the Silent Party arc. It's sort of hinted that she may have played with the minds of some of the people involved in that to help Misaka out for bad filler reasons.
Yeah, they're like frenemies, so I can see why. But I feel like they just put her in there for fan service, just like, hey, here's everyone's like favorite character.
Yeah,
we're gonna show up this season, but you might get her in the third, and we did get her in the third season.
But anyways, those were my thoughts on probably what's gonna happen on GT2.
Nice. Okay.
I actually forgot something. Sorry, but like just quickly, one thing I'm expecting for GT2 is like, you know what happened in NT2 with Accelerator and Hamazura. I'm hoping for the same thing, but for like Misaka and
Shoko.
Well, Misaka's probably going to take Accelerator's role for a while as one of the three heroes.
Why Kamachi? No, in all seriousness, I like where Accelerator's character's going. I think it's very unique, and I never saw it coming.
Can we get
Christ, you have that to look forward to with Accelerator's character in Genesis Testament. Yeah, okay, I'm going to quickly go through my expectations. Okay, so Christmas Day, I think that's a very important date. So I think Christian Rosenkreuz is coming back.
Oh.
That's my prediction. And I also think, since it's based in the hospital, I think we'll get more of Heaven Chancellor. And we've had a bit more Heaven Chancellor recently in the novels. So I think we might have some kind of conflict with Heaven Chancellor and Anna, maybe.
Oh. Yeah. I guess we haven't seen what Heaven Chancellor is going to sort of do now since Aleister's gone. He was like a big part of Aleister's plans, I guess.
I need more Frog Doctor in my life.
He's the closest thing you could call to a friend to Aleister.
And he's very mysterious. He's pretending to be all sorts of people. So he probably has something to do with the what do you call him? What's the new faction called? Rosicrucian people.
Yeah.
Maybe Heaven Chancellor's pulling the strings now. He's actually manipulating Anna.
dude, if that happens, that would be that would be the craziest plot twist of all time.
He's actually called Heaven Chancellor because he is the Christian god, so he decides who goes to heaven and who doesn't.
No, he's there to take down heaven.
God Frog.
Heaven is
God,
cancelled. Go home.
I need some fan art of just Heaven's Chancellor just like up in the air with some like, angel wings and a halo and just an apple.
Or he's a magic user all along, and he looks like Gekida because his magic is based off Gekida idol theory.
Ooh, deepest lore.
I mean, he must be some kind of magic user because, like, he's right. So he was in England conveniently at the time when Aleister was being hunted in 1947, and assuming the series takes place in 2004,
like they're still back there.
He looks around 70 or 60, I suppose. I don't know. Like, if he was like a young man back then, he should be older. Like,
it's sort of like
a
floating timeline.
It is.
So I don't think there's really like a set date. Like things can just change depending on however Kamachi feels like at the time.
Are they still using flip phones in the novels?
Some characters do, some characters don't.
Because I always found that hilarious because like the novels are so old that flip phones are advanced phones.
Yeah, Kamachi predicted Roombas, but he didn't predict the smartphone.
You're not wrong. And then,
and I think we'll find out what happens to Touma because all right, well, we won't get into that. Shall we go for questions now?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have a question you want to ask in the chat, then feel free. But otherwise, we will answer questions from Amino because a bunch of people asked us from Amino. Twitter, we're not very popular on Twitter. No one really asked us anything from there.
I'll work on
That's
it.
fine. We've
Twitter
got
is my domain.
Okay, so first we have Iwas with his perfect English. What are Aeon?
Ooh.
Right.
Well, Aeon of Horus, please explain.
I'll take this one then. Okay. I don't get why he's asking this question because it's kind of explained in the novel. I don't know where he's at, but yeah. So Aleister came up with the concept of Aeons. So there's 3 Aeons according to Aleister. There's the Aeon of Isis, the first Aeon, then Aeon of Osiris, then Aeon of Horus. So they're all named after Egyptian deities because Aleister liked Egyptian mythology because he went to Egypt to summon Iwas in the first place. So the Aeon of Isis is basically the age of paganism, where you have the bunch of different religions and beliefs. That's the prominent belief system. And then the Aeon of Osiris is where that's the prominent age of monotheism, aka voice crack, aka Christianity, Islam, all that sorts of things, but mainly Christianity, because I think his ideas are mainly Western based. And he believes either the world is currently in this age or it's transitioning to this age, which is the Aeon of Horus, which is my YouTube name if you can't read. And that is where basically humanity goes past like Christianity, and Christianity is basically destroyed, and humanity achieves a new enlightenment of knowledge, basically according to his theories on Flamer, about do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, meaning you should follow your inner law or soul or whatever you want to do in your life without any restrictions whatsoever, and that should be the most important law, although you should only do it through love. Well, Aleister's a hypocrite and he doesn't follow this always, so yeah. Anyone else want to comment on that, or shall we move on?
I mean, I'd say it's just basically it's pre-Christianity. They symbolize pre-Christianity, Christianity, and then Enlightenment, which basically means Academy City, because Academy City has nothing to do with religion at all.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's all just a classification system, sort of, for Aleister.
Yeah, and the magic does kind of like fall into one of those aeons or beyond it with certain deities in the series.
Yeah, 'cause what was it? I remember back in the World War III days, people would debate about Accelerator's wings and Touma's powers were they different parts of Aeon? Like one was Osiris and one was Isis.
Yeah, I was said that Accelerator's black wings were of the Aeon of Osiris, while, well, we haven't really been told what the Aeon Touma's magic breaker belongs to, because it doesn't really belong to any belief system entirely. But I suppose you could say that about the black wings. But I guess the
It's sort of
black
like an
wing,
anti-Aeon.
yeah.
Uh,
But now I guess Accelerator's got the power beyond Aeons. But yeah, that's another
Speaking
story.
of that, someone did ask, "What is Accelerator's wings?"
Yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah, we can answer that. That's fine. So, I mean, it's kind of been explained, but Amata had his theory on it, and then it's not been explained very well. Like, you kind of have to bring the different explanations together, which has been included in the novel. So from what I gather, it's Accelerator has another ability that's been awakened somehow. We don't really know how he got awakened, unless anyone can tell me. It's like he can influence. This was Amata's theory. He could Amata should know, because he developed Accelerator's power. He knows the most about Accelerator's power than anyone, apart from Aleister, maybe. I don't know. He can change his personal reality to influence aim fields around him into these black wings. So it's kind of like a second ability, and I think that's why Accelerator's ranked as number 1, because he's got this hidden ability in the way. And when he manifests these aim fields, they transition into the black wings, and those pretty much do these calculations for him.
One of the things he's referred to, I don't remember who said it or when, but it was the one who wields the power of God. Was one of the something somebody called him.
I weren't his wings Telesma, I believe. Weren't they made out of that at one point, or did they change it?
I think that's what, I don't know. I think that's what the Saints might have thought it was, but I don't think it is, because Telesma's magic, and I don't think he was using magic. He was up against the ball of Telesma when Fiamma dropped that shit out of the sky in World War III, and he couldn't understand the Telesma which Gable was using, and he was getting hit by that. So
right now, Accelerator's wings are sort of in a similar place as Imagine Breaker, where we sort of have hints of what it is, but nothing's been actually confirmed absolutely.
They basically allow him to calculate unknown vectors that he can calculate vectors for magic, which shouldn't be possible.
It seems very fourth dimensional.
Yeah, well, 11th dimensional if we want to. Kuroko teleportation levels of
12th dimensional, somewhere beyond that. Were there any other questions? Oh yeah,
I have a theory kind of what the wings are from. I mean, when you read, the first time the black wings pop up, it's during Academy City invasion arc, and I noticed that at that point, isn't Index using the magic chant on Last Order? I think she is.
I think what it was, she was using it because at that point Crowley created the fake angel Kazakiri. She was using it because Last Order was basically dying. Index was trying to basically calm down the Misaka network. And I believe what it was Accelerator was still connected to the Misaka network. His battery ran out, but I'm pretty sure it still has the passive effect. So, he can still talk and everything. I think what it was is, this might be just conjecture, but also it's hard to remember. But he was fighting Kihara, and Kihara made him so he knows his weakness of just pulling back his punch, and it reflects it for him. But he was basically Accelerator is basically brain dead at that point,
Hmm.
and then he just kind of wakes up, goes kind of, I want to say, berserk, and just starts chanting angelic, from what I remember,
Yeah.
and basically sends Kihara into the stratosphere.
Yeah, because like in Accelerator, the anime or manga, it happens earlier in the timeline, but he uses his black wings as well. But what's in common with the scene from Academy City Invasion is that he's actually in contact with some magic force, and I believe that's what the black wings like. That's the trigger for the black wings to not appear, but that's what kind of gave this power to Accelerator. And I think it's how can I explain, bringing magic into his personal reality, kind of.
Yeah.
That's what may have triggered the black wings.
Yeah, and then
And
now we have the third wing type, which I won't go
yeah.
into because of spoilers, especially for Kyrass.
I was like, wait, what? No.
Actually,
Now I have more hype.
yeah.
Okay. We'll move on to the next question. Shall we go for chat or Amino?
Let's finish up. How many are there on Amino?
Ooh, we got a quite a number. But let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 10 more.
Oh dang! Let's
mean,
speed
so
run those.
There were users who asked like 3 or more. So
Okay.
okay, so we'll speed run them then. So Ferenn asks, I'd be very interested how and when you guys got into the To Aru franchise. So I think Malcolm already said about this when he introduced himself. So I guess the rest of us can. So I got into the franchise basically from Facebook when I was like 16 and getting into anime. Like I only used to watch like I watched like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and Naruto as a kid, but the only like anime I continued to watch like into my late teens was like Naruto, and then I basically got into anime like watching like Tokyo Ghoul, and when it first came out as well. Like I remember watching Tokyo Ghoul when it first episode aired, and then like Death Note, and then I basically joined the anime community on Facebook, and they were talking about like cool anime characters, and one of them was talking about Accelerator, and I thought it looked pretty cool. So I basically watched the anime off that, and I haven't looked back to it ever since. And well, I enjoyed him the most out of the anime. It wasn't enough to make me into a super fan. I was just mainly a fan of Accelerator, like a lot of people are from watching the anime. But then, like when I got onto Amino, like people told me to read the novels, so that's what I did when I was like 17, and that's what turned me into a huge fan. Didi, how did you get into it?
I actually got into Toaru from the anime. It was around 2014, I think, when I was in middle school. At the end of middle school. Yeah, I don't really remember this time of my life very well, but it was one of the first anime I watched, and it's the first anime to make me go to read the novels. So it's a pretty big achievement. So yeah, that's when I got into the anime. But 1 year later, in 2015, I think, that's when I read the light novels, all of them up to what was currently coming out. But I have to say, and it's pretty like it's a shame, but I haven't read all the side stories yet. And the biggest offender of this is, even though I'm a big Gunha fan, I still haven't read SS2.
What?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm planning on doing it during the holidays, but I still haven't gotten to it because I don't know. And I have it downloaded on my phone, but for some reason I haven't read it.
Right.
Yeah.
You need to get on that shit because that has a really cool gun fight. I mean, he's fighting like nobodies, but it's just super hype. And he does have a better fight. Well, it's not really a fight, but I'll let you read it. But you need to read that.
I've read Fanfare though. You know,
Yeah, fanfares.
the one
Good.
written by
All right.
Narita.
Yeah. All right, Kyrass, quickly, how did you get into the series?
From what I can recall, I remember I found the anime on Funimation at the time, and I started watching it, and then I remember there were two places I met people. One was Amino, it's where I met Horace. We had a small community on there.
The OG To Aru group.
The OG To Aru group, yeah. We would talk a lot about it on there, and the other was I want to say it was a fan fiction series on Wattpad, but it wasn't like the romance one kind. It was like an actual like she wrote like crossovers with a couple other series.
What? You weren't reading any Touma X Accelerator?
Uh, and she would write it because she's Japanese, so she would get ahead of the light novel translations.
Oh, nice.
And so she would write stuff, and I was always just like, well, where do these characters come from? And she was just like, oh, they're in the novels. I was like, wait, there's novels. And so then I read the novels in high school, because this was back when Wattpad was just like, hey, you can upload anything you want, and people would just upload the translations to there, and I would sit in class and read them because I had nothing better to do in high school in Spanish class. And
Yeah.
I basically binge read them in like 2 months. And
Nice.
now we're here.
Very good.
Yeah, I read them back when I was in middle school.
Okay. Do you guys want a full Index reboot, Season 3 remake, or just move on to New Testament? Also, what are your favorite arcs, Index and Railgun? Okay, answer this first. It's whether the debate if Index will get the Brotherhood treatment, and I don't think it will.
I would like it to, though.
I like it, yeah, but I don't think it's feasible.
You probably could if it was Toei doing it, since they do the full 52 episode runs.
Yeah, but if it gets the Dragon Ball Super animation from Toei, I wouldn't want that.
That's usually just their shonen series, though. If you do like the right series, they end up doing pretty good.
Right. I mean, Index technically is for a shonen audience, but it's not shonen. So I'm not sure about that. I'd probably just say move on to New Testament, get it over and done with. Also, what are your favorite arcs? My favorite arc is probably World War III. Then it's probably Orphanus, then Aleister Crowley arc, then England invasion. From Railgun, I guess it's Sisters arc and Daihaseisai arc. I mean, probably everyone's favorite arcs from Railgun. Okay, who's next? Who wants to go?
I'll go. Right. For the first half, I'd like to see Index 3 be redone because I feel like it deserves a better anime than what it got. It won't happen, but I would like to see it happen. As for favorite arcs, I would have to say the Othinus arc is the first for me, followed by probably World War III as well. And then the best arc is easily the Ice Boats arc in the series. No, third place. It's hard to say. I would say
Biagio is best girl, by the way.
I don't know. I'd say it's similar to you, Aleister, where it's probably the Aleister Crowley arcs in third place. The only thing is, I guess I swap Othinus with World War III.
Good taste. Okay. Who wants to go next?
I
You
guess
can.
I'll go. My top arcs. I can't say Aleister Crowley because I haven't read it. Sad. Give me like sad noises.
Boo.
I said sad, not mean.
Yeah,
Shame.
shame noises.
No, I'd say, honest. It can switch between the Orthonis arc and World War III, but I love the Orthonis arc just a little bit more. Just Touma suffering, just Touma suffering is top tier suffering, and you get like that whole like turnaround at the end of it. And then World War III, it's just World War III. You get to see the combination of all the novels come together. After that, for the third spot, I would say maybe either Academy City Invasion or England Invasion. And then for Railgun, Sisters arc, just because it's top tier arc. I would have said that for Index, but Railgun just does it so much better. I guess Daihaseisai, and then that's it. And then for what to do with Index 3, honestly, I would say give me a movie trilogy of Index 3 redone, like the Code Geass movies and the Heaven's Feel movies. Give me like a trilogy of just World War 3. Like, I know they have to cut some more stuff, but like they could make it work and make it look really good because they already have the anime. So like if anyone really wants like the extended stuff, they can watch the anime. But like if you want the good quality scenes, you would watch the movies.
Yeah, that road Endymion movie quality. So that animation was good in the Index movie, even though the Index movie was kind of meh. The animation was on point.
Got to retcon the space elevator and everything. I remember that scene where he was just like, "What do you mean that it's Index is just like, when did that tower get there?" And he's like, "It was there during this and this. Remember,
Yeah.
right here." And they just retconned the space elevator into everything. And then, but yeah, I would say for Index 3, I would say just redo it as a movie trilogy. So then, we get the best of both worlds. We get the high quality scenes, and then we don't necessarily have to waste time on redoing stuff. But if they weren't going to do a movie trilogy, just move on to New Testament, because we got to blow through New Testament at some point.
Yeah, I felt like the World War III arc specifically should have been its own season, like its own 12, 13 episode season. I feel like that's the only way you can do a good adaptation.
Yeah, if they did World War III as just its own like 12 episode, maybe 24, that would have been like the better way to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we'll have Didi. So it's
Yeah.
You have a question?
About
Favorite
Index 3.
Yeah.
I think like they could have. I mean, I'm sorry for Accelerator fans, but if they had done like the first part of Index 3 as like the 26 or 24 first episodes, and then took like the one core from Accelerator to make World War 3, it could have been like way better. I think, like with a split core. But well, that's not really the topic of the question, so I'll just like answer now. I think, honestly, I don't think they'll do a remake, and even if like the Index anime isn't that good, I would not want a remake, because I mean, it's been years that we're in Old Testament merch, anime, manga, and I just want to get to New Testament. I mean, like, they take so much time redoing Index 1, 2, 3, but the novels they're still like coming out pretty quickly, and I mean, one of the reasons why Index 3 was this rushed is because I think they wanted to get to New Testament as soon as possible, so I wouldn't want them to like rush New Testament to get to Genesis Testament as soon as possible. So yeah, and what are my favorite arcs? I think Ochina's arc is a given. I mean, I really liked the Kichihana Ransai arc. That's NT 5 and 6. I googled the name, by the way. And I am actually one of the few people who actually like the Kamisato arc, or at least some parts.
I like Kamisato arc too.
And NT 14 and NT 16, especially like the atmosphere of NT 14 and 15, because in 15 I feel like it had been so long since we had, I mean, gotten any kind of like school slice of life, so I really liked it, like the rival and the kind of gang war stuff, so I really liked this arc, and the dynamic between Kamisato and Kamijou, I really liked it. And yeah, and for Hichi Hanaransai, I really liked Thor and Touma being like kind of partners in crime. I really like that. And World War III, of course. I love the three heroes and what they did together. So yeah, that's my top arcs. And for Railgun, I'd say Daihaseisai, and that may be a weird answer, but Jailbreaker, it just hypes me a lot. I'm really looking forward to the end of the arc.
Same here. It'll be interesting what they do with Kimi, especially, and what's in her.
To Aru as well.
Okay, let's move on to the next set of questions from Accelerator. What are your favorite characters and why? What are your least favorite characters and why? Which spin-off do you think you guys think that has more chances of getting an anime adaptation? Astral Body or Dark Matter? Okay. I'll start. Favorite characters and why? Aleister, Accelerator, Shoko, Misaka worst. I'll just limit it to two guys, two girls. Aleister, I mean, he's really interesting character. I think he's one of the best written characters Komachi has ever done. He's just such a complex antagonist. His motives are sympathetic. He's not entirely evil. He wants to do some good, but ultimately chooses the wrong way to do it. Just how like his personality, his backstory, like he feels very realistic for someone who's like a magician, because he's just a human. Because he has so many like flaws to his character, and yeah, he's just really well written. Accelerator's character development is incredible. I mean, everyone knows why I like Accelerator. He's got cool power. Yeah, just development's just incredible. Shoko, another complex character. Like she's defined by her relationships with like the other characters. She like uses her powers, like she's got quite a controlling power, but she like justifies it. Like her morals are quite ambiguous at times. Like she doesn't mind like cutting corners to like achieve what she wants. But at the same time, she does care about other people. Like she doesn't like using people, but even though she's kind of like forced to. And yeah, her relationship with Touma is very good. I enjoy it. I think she's got the best chemistry with Touma, like from New Testament 11, like the backstory. Like I really felt the romantic chemistry with Touma. I didn't really feel any romantic chemistry like Offness. Sorry, people who ship Offness and Touma, I didn't really feel them like be that romantic towards each other. Sorry. Misaka worst because she's pretty cool. I like her personality, and how she develops and fleshes out Accelerator during the World War 3 arc is pretty cool. Least favorite characters and why? I'm not a fan of Friend. I think she's kind of annoying. Although I don't mind. I like what they do with her, like in New Testament 12. Like after she dies, she becomes a better character after she dies.
And better motivation.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like if your character becomes better after they die, I feel like that's not very good. Well, I mean, it's better than nothing, but yeah. I don't like Agnese either from the Nuns. Like, I find her annoying as well. Who else? Ayu. Like, fuck Ayu. Fuck Ayu. Get Ayu out of my face. I really don't like Ayu. I think she's just a bitch. I'm saying it.
Damn.
Okay.
No.
Right, moving on. I think Actual Buddy's got more better chance of adaptation because one, it's a railgun, and railguns got cute girls, and cute girls, in short, sales in Japan.
Yes.
That matter is kind of like stopped now, so I don't think it would get maybe an OVA, but I don't think it's enough for a full series unless they do filler. So I say Actual Buddy. Okay, who's next?
I'll go. I gotta go here in a second.
Okay.
So this would
That's
be
how
my
you want,
last. But what we're doing, best character, worst character, and which anime will get the adaptation, or which manga will
Basically,
get an adaptation?
Yeah.
All right. Best characters for male characters, I'd have to say Touma, Accelerator, and Hamazura, because they're sort of the main focus. I think Aleister also gets some good character development, and I think that's Touma, Accelerator, and Hamazura for mostly obvious reasons. Like I said, they get a lot more focus, especially Hamazura. He probably goes through him and Accelerator probably go through the biggest character arcs in the series. But the difference is Hamazura actually gets laid. And then Touma, I think partly because I've been familiar with him for so long, but I also think he does represent a lot for the series. And he plays such a central role, and he's got an interesting personality. A lot of people peg him as a generic self-insert character, which in the anime it can sort of seem that way, but I've always found him to be a really interesting character. Female characters, I would say Misaki, Othinus, and AU. Definitely AU. Actually, I am sort of serious about AU because she's sort of the tragedy of Misaki if Touma never saved her. Which was it was a really interesting path for them to go down, and I was happy to see them go down it. Misaki, because she's sort of like the underdog, but also you empathize with her a lot because of how much she's been through. And Othinus, because her arc was so fun, and I feel like there's a lot of unexplored potential with it, and it was nice to have this sort of understander character for Touma, who I feel like even for fans is mostly misunderstood. Yeah, that's basically my thoughts. In terms of which one will get an anime first, I'd like to see Dark Matter get an anime, I think, a bit more. But if it got one, it'd probably be a 2-episode OVA. I think more likely would be Astro Body, for cute girl reasons, like you said. And it's it sort of fills in some more blanks with how popular, and Misaki's just really popular with the anime fans now. Alternatively, I'd also like to see an Accelerator Idol anime.
Hell yeah. That shit's 10 out of 10. Best parody of all time. I'm not even joking either.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it for that. And that's also where I have to say adieu.
Adios.
Nice having you on, Malcolm. It's been fun. It's been
fun
really good having you on. Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for having me on. Make sure everybody gives this video a like. So Accelerator, or not Accelerator, Aleister gets views. Make him popular, guys. And good job on making the podcast happen, Aleister. It's been fun. I hope I get to come back again sometime.
No problem. And thank you for that. And yeah, we should do this again sometime because it's been a success and I've enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
Yeah.
Okay. So who wants to go next about their favorite and least characters? Or have we had Didi? I've forgotten. Who wants?
Yeah,
I guess
I
me.
can.
Yeah, go on. Someone's dog wants to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. Well, then I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
So for favorite characters, actually, I realized most of my favorite characters are male characters. I have this one like dream team kind of that I want to get on Toaru Imaginary Festo, the gacha game, and it's like all guys. So I guess that means I like the male characters from Kamachi more than the female ones.
You like
So,
that
yeah.
dick?
No, that's not really it. But I think like it's not like for being sexist or anything, but I think the male characters, the way they fight, there are exceptions, but it's just way more hype. Notable exceptions are the Misaka Mikoto AAA. That's just like the best thing ever for Misaka Mikoto, I think. The best thing that happened to her hype levels, I think. Well, in any case, my favorite characters are Kamijou Touma, Sogita Gunha, Hamatsura Shiage, and also Thor, Aqua, and Kamisato Kakeru. I think that's my 6 favorite characters. And for female characters, I think it's Misaki Shokuro and Misaka Mikoto and Otinus, probably. Why I'd say those are the characters that are the most not. It's not that other characters are forgettable. I just forgot the name, but they hit me more. They had more impact on me. And for the male characters, I think they're the characters I'm just so glad to have them in the novel, usually, because they're just so hype, be it power or personality or interactions. I just love the way they act and fight. I guess it's not really a deep reason or anything, but I like them. Yeah. And for Astral Body or Dark Matter, I think it's definitely Astral Body, because it's a good follow-up to Daihaseisai and Dream Ranker. And also, I've thought about this, but like Railgun, if they want to do like a new Railgun anime, if they ever do like New Testament Season 1, they won't have enough content for the season, because Jailbreaker, it hasn't ended yet. And if they like adapt Jailbreaker, there won't be a second arc, and I think they may be able to like put Astral Body, perhaps. So yeah, they can do filler like they have always done, but I don't think it would be a good idea. So yeah, I think Astral Body, because it's a good follow-up. It has Gunha, which is who is a really popular character. And it has Misaki as well as a prominent role. So yeah.
Okay. did you talk about, what was it? About Astral Body or Dark Matter and your least favorite characters?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Kyrass, you wanna go next?
Is he here?
He's muted.
Yeah.
Although maybe he's still trying to get his dog to be quiet.
Yeah,
All right.
perhaps.
In that case, we can move on. Saturn asks favorite New Testament volumes. I mean, we've already kind of discussed this already.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I'd say Old Testament 22 is probably my favorite volume. Then New Testament 9, and then like New Testament 18. But so many of them are good. Like,
Yeah.
I also like New Testament 2021 as well. Oh, Kryze is back, I think.
Yeah, I'm back. I had to
Welcome back.
hop on the car real quick.
No problem. Do you want to talk about your favorite and least favorite characters? And
Yeah. Favorites for guys would probably obviously Kamijou, just because I do like how he is more of a hero because he's just the person who can fix the situation. He could just pass on by and say no, I don't want to help, but he does it because it's the right thing to do. And probably Accelerator as well, just because he goes from one-time arc villain to secondary protagonist, from being the big bad evil number one Esper to caretaker of the lollies. And favorite females, I don't want to sound like a Misaka stan, but I do enjoy Makoto Misaka.
oh, that's fine. It's fine as long as you admit that her character's better in Railgun. Like her character in Index, most of it's a bit poo.
Oh yeah, her character is so much better in Railgun than it is in Index. And then for second, probably I want to say Orthanus, just because as like a counterpart to, not a counterpart that's Kamiseto, but more of a, I want to say companion. Like Index is kind of a companion, but she's the freeloader. Orthanus is actually helpful, and
hey, Index is helpful.
When
I made a video on it.
When she has food, yes.
But like Touma can just carry around Orthanus in his pocket, and she has like Odin's wisdom. And for least favorites, males, I don't want to say I disliked Kamiseto because I really enjoy Kamiseto, but I feel like he needed more than just his one note arc to
Yeah, I agree.
Like if he had if he was like a recurring minor character, that would have been nice. And then second dislike would probably be, what was his name? I want to say kind of Terror of the Left, just because like I don't dislike Terror of the Left. Let me like rephrase that. It was more just like, again, a one note kind of villain. Like he was just there for like the one fight and doing the one thing when he had like a lot more potential, and then he just dies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He does like some good wine and tourists and flour.
Yeah, he was just there for the Vatican arc, and then died. Because Accelerator was Accelerator that killed him, I believe, or Aqua. No.
Yeah, Aqua got the pillar crushed in.
Yeah, and then female, I'd have to say, what was the one? The one scientist lady whose professor was the dog.
Oh, Yuisu.
Yeah, Yuisu. Yeah. I liked her, but I also disliked her just because like she felt like she was trying too hard to be a villain. You know what I mean? She was just like, let me get all these experimental weapons and cut off this hand so his harem has to follow me as their only hope of salvation. You know what I mean? Like kind of that.
I thought it was kind of like a unique take on like the revenge motive, because revenge is quite a cliche motive for a villain, but like the way she did it was like the how far she was taking it was quite interesting. At least
Yeah,
to me.
like how far she took it was cool, but like all she kind of had was the revenge motif. You know what I mean? Just like
Although I got to admit, Noken is a great character.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Noken.
definitely. And then I think that's it. I think I did it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. Also, what spin-off do you think has got a better chance of being adapted, Astral Buddy or Dark Matter?
Astro Buddy.
Yeah, I pretty much already said Astral Buddy for like obvious reasons because it's like much longer. It has the cute girl factor, and it has the railgun appeal factor.
Yeah, it's got the three things.
You need for successful anime in Japan in the present day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Then we moved on to favorite New Testament volumes. I already said mine, so I mean we kind of touched upon this when we talked about our favorite arcs. So we'll just go for this real quick. So Didi, name some
I'd
numbers.
say favorite New Testament NT5, NT9, NT14, NT16, NT18, and then NT22. That's my favorite.
For Old Testament, or shall we just go to Kyrass?
For Old Testament, I think it's like OT. I don't really know. For perhaps like OT 16. I really like the Aqua arc. That's all. I mean, that's all. No, not really. I liked World War 3, of course, but it's different from NT because like there was the anime and also I don't know. I don't have the same perception of it. It's pretty weird. I can't
Right.
really explain, but yeah.
Okay, we'll go with Kyrass. What do you think? New Testament.
Favorite New Testaments, gotta say 9 and 10. I haven't read the last 4, so I can't say about them in general. But from what I read, it was 9 and 10 were definitely there. Mostly 9 because it's just Touma and Orthanus going at it. Well, not mainly just Orthanus tried to kill Touma a lot.
It was a good arc.
And then my favorite Old Testament, honestly, the British Battle Royale arc was pretty good.
Brexit arc.
Yeah, I really liked what they were going with that. And then you just have Aqua fighting the Knight Captain was pretty nice.
I love Aqua.
Aqua is great.
I am Aqua.
Yeah.
You are Aqua.
Yes. Got the saint power. All right. Yeah, we've almost done the questions from Mino. We just got Style now. Our old friend Style. Cries.
Oh, cool.
He says, hope you're doing well, and Cries, I miss you, bud. It's good to hear from you. Some more questions for you guys. What are your thoughts on the dragons, and especially with the angelic dragon residing with Kimi? So that's from like the latest Railgun arc. I don't know if you're keeping up with it, Cries. Is this a setup for future arcs for potentially having the remaining dragons pop up from within other characters? And who would win a game of Uno between Style, Lola Stewart, Kanzaki, Aleister, Kikine, and Accelerator? Okay, so I kind of touched upon my thoughts with the angelic dragon in Kimi in my dragon video. So yeah, it's like she couldn't use this ability when she was in the AIM prison, so she couldn't use any AIM ability. So kind of hints that it is related to AIM. So yeah, we don't really know how she got it. It's going to be explained, I think. I haven't read the latest chapter though, so is this set up future arcs or dragons popping up with no characters? I mean, it would explain like where the dragons have been because we haven't really seen them that much in the light novels. So maybe, I don't know. Depends if Kamijou wants to introduce more characters with the same niche. Yeah, I mean, Kimi's got the niche, but I think if it's overused to have like a new villain has a new dragon, it'd be kind of lame like every time. He would win a game of Uno. Like I never played a game of Uno before.
You've never played Uno?
No.
Oh,
I know what I'm gonna have you do later.
yeah.
So I can't really comment about that. So I'll leave it to everyone else. Right, go with the questions. Who wants to go?
I can. I think like the dragons. What do I think about them? I like what they are doing. What they're doing with the dragons in Railgun currently. I think it's interesting, but it's just too like I can't guess all what will happen in the next chapters of Railgun about the dragons. But I think it's interesting because it gives some insight on what the dragons may be. For example, the fact that they can't appear, or at least like Kimi can't use the dragon when they are AM jammers. So I think that's interesting. It's kind of little information. Apart from this, I think it's interesting that like the dragons, I read somewhere that they weren't in the original script by Kamachi for Railgun, like the manga, and that Furukawa actually added the dragons. I mean, of course, Kamachi okayed it, but like I think it's interesting because thanks to this, we got Ogino, the Railgun editor, dropping like a large chunk of lore on the dragons, which is pretty weird because it's not even in the novel for now. But I think the fact that like in Genesis Testament we're getting to a part with like Touma being at the center of everything, kind of with Anna, and like the Railgun T anime with the dragons, the Railgun editor dropping information, and the Railgun manga being currently about the dragons as well. I think we're gonna have something in the novels about this. So yeah, I think it's all kind of foreshadowing for what may happen in Genesis Testament. Apart from this, the game of Uno. This is hard. I mean, it's kind of a meme, but I think at least I can tell like who's not gonna win. Kakine, because he's always jobbing. So yeah,
Style's the magic side jobber.
Yeah, style is definitely not winning either. Aleister, I think like he may like get a +4 or something and be about to lose, but then kind of like turn this misfortune into a stroke of luck or something. But then, I mean, he's kind of like oscillating between failure and success. So it has to be a pretty interesting game of Uno with Aleister in the mix. And yeah, I really don't know who would win, but at least I could tell like who would lose. Yeah, I hope it's good enough.
Okay, we'll have Kyrass now. What do you think?
Trying to remember because it's been a hot minute since I've read Railgun manga from the dragons. I can probably see them going more, giving some other people some dragons maybe. But as far as I can tell, like we probably will be seeing more of them. I don't know what his plans are for the rest of them. What were the other questions again? Sorry.
So with the angelic dragon residing in Kimi, is this a set up future arcs for potentially having the remaining dragons pop up within other characters?
Yeah, I could see them putting some in other people. I could see just Accelerator's Wings technically being part of a dragon.
Cool. That's an interesting theory.
They could pull some like Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D stuff, just like different parts of the dragons. That would be an interesting. And then as for who would win in Uno, the answer is no one, because everyone would do homebrew rules of stacking +2s until it got to Accelerator, and he would flip the table at that point.
And try to kill people, probably.
Yes.
That's actually pretty funny. Like, imagine if Accelerator kind of like used a reverse card. That would be pretty ironic, I think.
It's like the meme Malcolm made on the Imaginary Fest with on the Mino with the Imaginary Fest
Yeah.
Flex thing of the Uno card.
Oh, but I think maybe if he asked this question, it's because he read like I think there was a doujinshi about the level 5s playing Uno.
Oh,
And they're
really?
all like kind of putting like +2 or +4 on Kakine and making him job.
Poor Kakine.
Sorry.
I can see.
Looking cool, Kakine. All right. Right. Yeah, we'll just answer the questions from chat and then we'll call it a day. So, scrolling up a bit from like an hour ago, Dalek Hunter 123 asked, best place to get translations? Bakasuki. Next question, I think. Does everyone agree on that?
Bakasuki for the new ones, and then you're gonna have to do like some internet archive stuff to get the old ones.
Yeah. Just Google Old Testament link and on Google and you'll probably find it. There's plenty of places where you can download it from. Or just ask like the To Aru Universe or Project in Accelerator blah 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 page on Facebook and someone will sort you out with it. Okay,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts about the theory with Esper's connection to Flamer? Well, I don't think it's really and that was asked by 1993 Espada. Okay, I don't think it's a theory though. Like it's pretty much been confirmed since like the Temple of Flamer in Sicily, where Aleister first like drugged up children. That was basically the template of Academy City. So yeah, I think they're intrinsically linked, and the whole personal reality thing with that being the individual lore. Yeah, it's pretty much confirmed. Anyone else want to comment anything on this?
I thought it was interesting, like the parallel between Academy City and real life, Aleister temples. Like, I read a bit about Aleister Crowley, what he did in real life, and if I'm not mistaken,
Messed up stuff.
yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, there was a thing about like a temple and giving drugs to kids. I'm not sure, but I mean, Academy City is kind of like temple and giving drugs to kids, so it's kind of like similar. I thought it was interesting.
Shall we move on or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just bad stuff. Like,
Yeah.
not okay.
Okay, Jazz55 asks, why was Rensa able to use the black wings then? Okay, or the white wings, because she uses both. And this is my point. This is what we were talking about earlier about the wings. So this is why I think it's like they are aim-based, because Rensa is able to access the aim from the Academy City to get the powers of level 5, so therefore the wings must be made out of aim. What do you guys think?
They're part of Accelerator's power base AIM field, so it would make sense that she had them. As for the theory that what I remember they were also Telesmo, I think it was also just because they're integrated into his AIM field. So like that would explain why she has, the black and white wings.
Didi, you want to say anything?
Not really. I think everything has been said.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I think that's all the questions. We finally got through them all, and it's been over 2 hours, so we've continued longer than expected, but it's fun. Oh, yeah. There was another question. We'll do that real quick. Nkuzi Bennett asks, sorry if I butchered your name, is Kakine alive? Well, yeah, he is in the form of Beetle 05, but if you're talking about evil Kakine, we don't know. Like, maybe evil Kakine can come back in some form, since if the dark matter network, like some trace of evil Kakine is there, maybe he could overtake Beetle. Who knows? What do you guys think?
the current state of Kakine, isn't it like compressed into a volleyball and put in the sea? Or something really like extreme like that?
I feel like it just depends if Kamenachi wants to bring him back or not. Like,
Yeah.
If he feels like he wants evil one to come back, then he'll show up. But if not, then he's just lost in the sea of that is dark matter.
I'd like to have him back. It'd be cool. I mean, like Beetle and Evil Kino, I don't mind. Both of them are cool.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind if he came back.
And Dalek Hunter has another question. When's the next stream? We don't know. This is the first stream and it's gone pretty well. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm updated on Twitter if you follow me at Aeon Crowley, or on Amino if you join To Aru Amino. I'll be posting updates about my videos and stuff. So if you do get a chance to do this again, then I'd definitely like to, and we'll try get some new faces on maybe at some point in the future. Who knows? And get some old ones as well. Regular guests.
Yeah, I'd love to come back.
Great.
Yeah, see.
Okay, yeah, we'll call it a day now. I just want to thank both of you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed my time, and we'll definitely do some future.
It's been a blast.
Yeah, it's been really great.
Yeah, and make sure you subscribe to DidiGetsRekt's YouTube channel. I'll try put it in the description after I edit this video, because it'll be automatically uploaded. And Kyrass, do you have a YouTube channel?
Not as of recording this now.
Oh, okay.
Who knows?
If you do, I will try link it in future videos. Okay, I guess that's it then. Thank you, and thank you everyone for watching. We've had like consistently 20 people watching. I know I've got 18 at the moment, but it's been really good. Thank you all for tuning in. Yeah, it's been good. We've had lots of questions from Amino and chat. So yes, support the channel, please. It'd be appreciated. If you haven't subscribed already, then do so. Turn on that notification bell. And as Malcolm said, like the video. And I'll see you Index nerds in the future. Thank you, and say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.